with the COVID measures, with not knowing whether we can talk openly to the people around us anymore, with not being able to gather at times of joy or at times of sadness, they are making us incredibly lonely. They are making us feel like the world has abandoned us and we don't fit anymore. We don't have much longer. We don't have much more of a window where it will be easy to stand up. And when I say easy, I mean it would have been very easy for those men to simply stay at their mother's side. That is easy. We are not talking about having to do real revolutionary acts yet. We are not talking about a hot civil war or what would be considered terrorist actions in order to defend our life, liberty, and property. We're not being asked to do that yet. That's not necessary yet. Do these things while you still can. Defy petty tyrants, funeral home directors. It's a no-brainer. Don't wear a mask. It's a no-brainer. It's easy. Do it now before it's too late, because I want to read you something now to close from Alexander Solzhenitsyn, who lived through the terror in Russia under Stalin. You know him, he wrote the Gulag Archipelago and other books. And Alexander Solzhenitsyn says, "And how we burned in the camps later, thinking, what would things have been like if every security operative, when he went out at night to make an arrest, had been uncertain whether he would return alive and had to say goodbye to his family? Or if during periods of mass arrests, as for example in Leningrad, when they arrested a quarter of the entire city, people had not simply sat there in their lairs, paling with terror at every bang on the downstairs door and at every step on the staircase, but had understood they had nothing left to lose and had boldly set up in the downstairs hall an ambush of half a dozen people with axes, hammers, pokers, or whatever else was at hand. The organs of the state would very quickly have suffered a shortage of officers and transport, and notwithstanding all of Stalin's thirst, the cursed machine would have ground to a halt. If we didn't love freedom enough. And even more, we had no awareness of the real situation. We purely and simply deserved everything that happened afterwards." He lived it. He and the people that he was with in the time after the revolution succeeded, they could play armchair quarterback. They could look back and say to themselves, we should have fought when the fighting was possible. When the fighting was possible. We are at a stage now in this attempted global totalitarian takeover under the guise of a dangerous pandemic, which in actual fact does not exist. We are at the point now where we either fight it in all of the easy ways that are still on the table. I'm not talking about killing guards, or I'm talking about not wearing the masks. I'm talking about getting together with your neighbors and discussing how ridiculous this is. I am talking about giving up on manners. That, I just don't want to cause a fuss. It's a funeral, I shouldn't say anything. We can't think that way. Right now, we're in a war. We want to get back to a day when that makes sense, but right now it doesn't make sense and we have to fight. Don't be sitting in the camps later and saying, if only I hadn't worn that stupid mask, because I know now that by me wearing the mask, it signaled to everyone around that I was okay with it. And it just snowballed from there. It signaled weakness. It signaled obedience. It signaled that, hey, I probably will go along with whatever the next step is. Whether it's taking the mandatory vaccine or sending my neighbors into re-education camps because, God damn it, they just won't stop getting together in groups of 10. Whatever it is, whatever price you're being asked to pay today is low in comparison to the price you'll be asked to pay soon. You'll be forced to pay. Real force. Real force. I shouldn't smile at the end of this because it isn't funny. But if I don't smile, it would indicate that I've essentially given over to this machine, and I have not. I know there are thousands of well-educated, well-spoken doctors, lawyers, public health escapees, even a guy from Pfizer, regular citizens who have been studying this stuff for years, and just moms and dads and entrepreneurs standing up, spreading the truth, being brave. It's happening. So now is the time to jump on board, add your voice, stop being afraid. Now. I know we are at the tipping point, and it could go either way. So I have to smile because I see a bright future. Once we defeat these people, and it is probably going to get worse before it gets better. Once we defeat them, we need to make the Renaissance, and the only way we will have it in us to create the Renaissance at the end of this battle is if we retain our humanity, our virtue, our courage. If we can put our heads down on the pillows at night and know we did what we could. Because otherwise we'll be broken people. And broken people are not capable of rebuilding a better world. So, hang on tight. It is your most precious possession, your integrity. Keep it. Be brave.